joining us for yet another, I'd say exciting episode of Dbacks Dispatch, but there's not really much exciting about the rest of the season with the way we're playing. But either way, it is a pleasure to have you guys join the trio here, Gabe, Brandon, and myself, Brett, as we're here to talk about yet another disappointing series loss. This time at the hand of the divisional rivals in the San Diego Padres. But before we dive in on to the games and the recaps and everything, we want to welcome everybody in here. I know we have a disruptive and hopefully some more friends joining us up in the YouTube chat. Appreciate you guys. If this is your first time here on Dbacks Dispatch, whether you're lurking or whatnot, we appreciate it. If you guys could like, comment, subscribe, really helps out the algorithm. Make sure you guys go follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, all that stuff, and also while you're on the Twitter as well. Check out our pinned tweet. We have a free Discord that you don't have to pay a single dollar for. Join on there. Great community of Dbacks fans that's getting stronger and stronger, especially with the way the season is going. We're gonna need to be there for each other to keep each other a little bit more sane. But also make sure you guys go on over to the AZ Snake Pit website, azsnakepit.com. There's tons of great articles over there. We got some written content over there, usually after each show. There's also some daily in-depth dives, daily breakdowns and whatnot. A little bit more written content that you might see in other places. So the Snake Pit is the best place to go and see all that. So like I said, azsnakepit.com. But as I already mentioned and spoiled, this is yet another disappointing series for the D-backs. And we'll just kind of go game by game in chronological order. It didn't start out necessarily too disappointing. It was actually starting off with a little bit of hope and a little bit of, you know what, maybe we can at least play spoiler, try to keep some of these other teams out of the playoffs, and maybe be the reason why they don't make it there. And things got off to a good start there in game one. D-backs did win that game 6-2. Brandon Fott was a big key to that. He went 5 2/3, 5 hits allowed, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, and 4 strikeouts on 97 pitches. 71 of them for strikes. He had 9 whiffs total. His ERA over his last 7 games now down to 4.10, so not amazing, but definitely a little bit more manageable than we've seen throughout a majority of the season. Tyler Locklear did have his first home run as a Diamondback, so official welcome to the D-backs. Nice to see him kind of, drive one out of the ballpark. He is known to have a little bit more power than maybe some of our other first base prospects that we have. And it's nice to at least have him get that first one out of the way. So really love to see that from Tyler Locklear. Alec was staying hot in this one. He went 2 for 4 with his 8th home run of the season. He has 4 straight multi-hit games, and over his last 30 games, again, this is a little bit of a bigger sample size, not a super tiny one. He is now hitting 289, 340 with a 511 slug for an 851 OPS. Again, that's not over his last 7. Where I know even over his last 7, those numbers are a little bit better. Obviously, because of the home runs, they kind of inflate that a little bit. But a 30-game sample size is nothing to kind of point your nose up at. So he is trending in the right direction. So that's great to see from the young king. Corbin, Cattell, and Lourdes all went 2-4 as well in this game, as it was just a pretty well-rounded team effort. They went 4 for 12 with runners in scoring position, so definitely some more on that later. This was at least a nice difference from those other 2 games when it came to clutch hitting. And then Andrew Hoffman actually made his D-backs debut, and he looked nasty. He struck out Manny Machado and Ringworm Cream Jr. In his outing there, so he actually looked really solid. When he's got his control there, he's kind of dotting that changeup, that fastball combination. Looks really, really good. So it's really nice to see that kind of come from the D-backs bullpen arm, because there's, in the world of, Woodfords and Casey Kellys, it's nice to have a guy like Andrew Hoffman joining the back end of the bullpen, because we're definitely going to need him for next year and hopefully beyond, because we're just fighting with band-aided bullpens, and we're taking on water, and we only have a tiny little bucket with holes in it to kind of clear that. So the ship is already borderline sunk, but you know what? At least we have some exciting young names to watch here as the season winds on down. So kind of digesting this game one here, fellas. Like I said, they did win the 6-2. There's a lot of good. Fott, Tyler, Alec, and even Andrew Hoffman. I think the main thing that stuck out to me, at least, I don't know about you guys, was Brandon Fott. Obviously, kind of has a little bit of a back and forth where it's almost like he's doing his own Zach Gallen, where he'll have a couple good starts and then a couple bad starts here and there. But again, a 4.10 ERA over his last 7 games, and then especially in this one, the thing that stuck out to me was the strike percentage. 71 of his 97 pitches were strikes, which, yes, that could be some foul balls in there too. But I think that's a big key, obviously, in limiting the amount of free passes, because walks just absolutely kill me. And we definitely did not see a lot of that from Brandon. And he, again, did have 9 whiffs, which he's not usually a big swing and miss guy. He doesn't get a lot of, strikeouts. This one, 4 strikeouts on the day, but just a really solid outing from Fott overall. especially what we've seen from this year. So, what did you guys like about Brandon? Maybe even some of the other performances that we saw in this game one.
So I thought Brandon actually looked pretty damn good in this game. Like you mentioned, I do feel like he's on the right track. Talked about him like maybe a few episodes ago. It seems like compared to where he was midway through the season, it seems like maybe he's figured something out. Again, it hasn't been perfect, but like you said, the last 7 games, 4.10 ERA, which is even lower than what he had last year. Last year, he ended the season with a 4.71 ERA. But in these 7 games, I think the main thing that sticks out to me is the fact that he's averaging about 6 innings per start in those 7 games. So he's still going deep into the games. The main thing is the walk to strikeout ratio is very low. He just hasn't really given up walks. He has 8 walks total in these last 7 games, 3 of which came in this game. Like the Padres are relatively patient, especially that top half of the lineup. They are very patient hitters. They don't swing at too many pitches outside the zone, um, especially Arias. Even though in this game, Arias just looked incredibly silly on that changeup that he threw outside to the point where they zoomed in the camera on him and he was just like, wow. And he just like looked at him like just so surprised. And again, that's the guy who has 18 strikeouts on the season or something like that. And now Brandon Fine has one of them. Um, but yeah, it's the 37 strikeouts in these 7 games and a 1.15 whip. I think that's the most important thing to me. It's the fact that he's keeping guys off the base path, and because that was the biggest problem, is like you said, it was the walks for the longest time, just giving too many free passes, 3 or 4 walks in 1 inning, 2 or 3 walks in 1 inning, and then they're just a double or a single away from making the game go out of hand. In this game, he was on it. I mean, just 2 runs, 4 strikeouts isn't, it's not the best, but again, it's not like the Padres strike out that much usually. They obviously they're like every other team. They'll have the games where they just strike out a lot, like on Tuesday, but for the most part, they don't have too much swing and miss. But he's able to lower his ERA to a 5.02. Hoffman looked very impressive in this game. Then Backus, at least for 2 innings, looked impressive, and then just kind of fell apart in a couple of the games. But it was nice to also see Alec starting, keep on hitting. He didn't really do much in the later in the later games, but it was kind of a good way to show like what this team can be when they're playing consistently and playing actual good baseball. Like I feel like this is what this team could be, even still, even despite not having Gino anymore, despite not having Naylor, no Merrill. I do feel like this team could still win quite a few games. The problem is they just don't, and they've been underperforming this whole season. And we're going to get to it later on, but this issue with runners in scoring position as well. But overall, this was one of the more complete and better games. And Brandon Fowler was just really impressive.
Yeah, I think you put it really well there. That it's just a complete game where we didn't have to worry about the bullpen kind of blowing things up. It seemed like, especially the offense, I believe they scored in each of the first 4 innings in this one, which is just nice to see them kind of score early and often. They didn't do like what we'll get to here in a little bit for even game two, where it's like they might score early, but then they just kind of go away. I mean, they put up 5 in the first 4, and then they scored one more insurance on that Alec home run in the 8th inning. So it was just a nice complete game overall. Everybody got a hit except for James McCann, who's been scuffling a little bit as of late, but that's what's going to happen when you don't get the consistent playing time when you're actually playing hot to kind of like continue that going. But just a overall well-rounded W, and there's a lot of positives there, especially with Brandon Fott, like you said, that whip and the amount of strikeouts, like 37 strikeouts over his last 7 games versus just over 100 on the season. Definitely been a lot better over those last 7 of getting a little bit more swing and miss. But Brandon, passing it along to you there. Including Brandon Fott, some of the other names, obviously, like we said, Alec, Andrew Hoffman, all that. What kind of stood out to you the most in this one, and what did you like or what did you see that you liked out of Brandon in this outing here?
So this might be kind of bold to say. Does Andrew Hoffman's throwing motion look a little bit like Trevor Bauer from the stretch? Or was that just me that noticed that? Like, it's a very, like, it's quick and he kind of falls down as he throws. Like, that's the first thing that stood out to me. I'm like, it looks like Trevor Bauer from the stretch. I just, like, that's the first thing that kind of popped off. I thought Andrew Hoffman, like, when they called him up, I was like, I kind of hope we see him in this here. I didn't realize it was going to be game one that they throw him in there. I thought he looked really, really good. Like you said, striking out Machado and Tatis Jr. Really, really impressive. Thought like yeah, like if you look at his overall numbers on the year, you're like he's not having a great year. He got his 11th win of the season. Pretty impressive. His innings though is like it's a little low to be honest. After 23 games, only 122 innings. Like that feels a little bit low, but when you have that high ERA, yeah, he's probably had several starts. Like we're talking about the yes hitter against the Nationals, didn't get a single out, so that's gonna skew that innings pitched. I just want to see him more confident in that cutter. Continue to work with Burns. Continue to have confidence in that pitch. Like that's like I would love to see him add another quality pitch to his repertoire, with that sinker, that fastball, and that sweeper. If he can add that cutter, and he can get outs with it, be really really good to see for me. Congrats to Tyler Locklear. So I was at that game when he hit that moonshot home run. I thought he hit it too high. I thought the launch angle was just a little bit too much. I thought it was going to be like right at the wall. Nope, he got it out. So congrats to him. Also, loving seeing Alec just tear it up. And like we've always said, if he can lift the ball, he will be a productive hitter. It's the fact that if his grounders and his rollovers is second, which is the most frustrating to watch. Including this game, he had 4 straight multi-hit games. So congratulations there to our young king. I want to see him do it for the rest of the season. I want to, if he can stay around that 250, 260 batting average for the rest of the season, I think that's going to give the team confidence that maybe he's the starting center fielder next year, because his defense, for the most part, for the majority of the season, wasn't very good. It's been better lately, and his bats really come to life here.
Yeah, so he's been as our man Jason, aka Shrimpy, in the chat saying Alec is crushing it. He definitely has been. I mean, the 30 game, that's 45 at bats over 30 games. With that over 800 OPS, and that's just really solid to see. 13 hits, 3 home runs, 7 RBI. Just nice to see him, like Brandon said, kind of lift the ball in the air, and really, really prove why he was one of our top prospects, in early 2021. I mean, obviously he was called up before Corbin, and I think Corbin was one of those where he was such a random riser at the last minute there, where I think people really do forget that he was a really highly touted prospect, and there was a good reason why. Alec absolutely crushed in the minors, and he is starting to see a little bit more of that. Like obviously, like you said, would like to see him end the season on a high note and end the season having over. I mean, his OPS is finally over 700, so that really tough stretch to start the season kind of hurt his numbers pretty badly to get it over to that 700. But
higher than Lourdes, by the way. It's higher than Lourdes.
His OPS is higher than Lourdes on the season.
Yes, it is.
That just sounds.
It might be just about the same now because he crushed 2 home runs the other day, so it might be.
Lourdes is at 701 now after the game.
Oh, I think Alex is 706?
700 even, I believe. 700 even, Alex.
No, okay, so 1 point.
I thought it was at 750.
The on bases, I think were Alec. I mean, it's pretty much similar to 293 on base for Lourdes, 305 for Alec.
Oh, yeah. All right,
but
so they're about the same.
Either
way, yes, honestly, that the Gurriel number.
Thomas has 100 less at bats though, so.
Yeah, he does. About 120 less at bats. So, Lourdes is just the streakiest hitter. We've talked about it before. He will have weeks where he goes hitless and only has a single here and there, and then some weeks where, like we saw in Game 2 that we'll get to in a minute, where he just goes on a hot streak and just kind of crushes the ball. But I think we can all agree that was a very well-rounded win there, and the Dbacks had our hopes kind of set off high. Where Disruptive is even saying, I don't really know how to feel about this team. And that's definitely where a lot of our thought process kind of goes to, especially after these last 2 games, because vibes were high. Obviously, the season, there's probably very minimal chance we make the playoffs, but like I said, if we can just be spoiler, things would look really well. And Game 2 wasn't looking terrible. It's kind of a little bit of a back-and-forth action. Getting the exact box score really quick. It was a little bit of back and forth. Dbacks scored first. Padres went up 3-1. Dbacks came back and tied it on a Lourdes Gurriel Jr. home run. or actually, I'm sorry, D-back scored. They scored first. They went up 2-0. Padres came back and tied it. And then would have had 3-3. So it was literally just back and forth. D-back score, Padres score. D-back score, Padres score. Padres go up in the seventh inning by 2, a score 5-3. And then Lourdes Gurriel Jr. hits the hardest recorded pitch at 104 mile an hour to turn into a home run, which is insanely stellar. But the D-backs would not have been in the state they were in without Ryan Nelson doing his thing again. Ryan Nelson went 5 2/3, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, and 8 strikeouts on 100 pitches. 67 of them were for strikes. He was just missing bats all day. He had 16 whiffs. 9 of them were on his fastball alone, which just shows that he is a really, really good fastball. And I'm glad they finally kept him in the starting rotation, because I know there's a lot of fans, especially some people in our Discord earlier in the season, were saying that he is just a bullpen pitcher and he is better as a bullpen pitcher. So it's nice to see him kind of prove a lot of, and especially even looking at it early in the season last year, a lot of us were expecting him to go to the bullpen, and he's even proving us wrong. He has a 2.65 ERA and a 1.01 WHIP over his last 15 games, which is 78 innings pitched over that span, and he has 66 strikeouts to only 22 walks over that, which is just stellar stuff from Ryan Nelson. More about him in a minute there. Like I kind of already mentioned earlier, Lourdes had 2 2-run home runs in this game. As I've even mentioned, Mason Miller came in, had a 104 mile an hour fastball, that 2 in a row that Lourdes fouled off. The third one he connected with and is the hardest thrown ball to be hit for a home run in Statcast history. But outside of Lourdes, the offense kind of just wasn't there at all. They went 4 for 32 combined, the rest of the lineup, including going 0 for 13 with runners in scoring position. So once again, their clutch hitting issues just reared their ugly head. Woodford allowed 5 runs in the 11th, only 4 of them earned. The ghost run doesn't count as an earned run. And our man Gabe was Nostradamus. While it didn't happen in the inning, he called it in the 10th. He was like 5-run deficit incoming. And he had a clean 10th inning. D-backs couldn't score in the bottom of the 10th, but because there's not really many people, and I get the frustration of, like, why would you keep Woodford in? There's really no one else they can go to, especially Andrew Hoffman already being used early in the game. Woodford allowed 5 in the 11th there, so the 5-run deficit did come to fruition, and the D-backs could not really claw back anything. Once again, they just can't do anything with a free runner on second base. They lose 10-5, and this is now yet another extra innings loss, and they fall to 4-8 in extra inning games this season. So while this game definitely not as hopeful when it comes to the results and all that, there was some good with Ryan Lourdes. My main thing that I wanted to at least ask you, gentlemen, and everybody in the chat, is hearing some of those numbers, whether it's the whiffs or the ERA and the WHIP over his last 15 games. My question is Ryan pitching his way into being a top of the rotation arm, whether maybe not an A status, but a certified lockdown number 2 pitcher with how he's been for this season, and especially how he kind of ended last season? Like, this isn't a super small sample size. He's had almost a full season worth of being this consistent of a pitcher, and even early his numbers on the season kind of took a little bit of a hit because he was out of the bullpen early on, to where we're kind of seeing like him as a starter. That's why I went over his last 15, just looking absolutely stellar. But do you think he's slowly but surely pitching his way into being a top of the rotation reliable arm that we're definitely going to need going into the future?
I mean, he should have been, on this pitching staff in the first place, but obviously they're paying Erod what they're paying him. They're paying Brandon Fott what they're paying him as well. So he kind of was the odd man out. Same with Daigan. He kind of, they're kind of just getting paid what they're getting paid, and Ryan Nelson is still getting paid like $75 or $7,500 or $750,000. There we go, for this season. So he's kind of, kind of dispensable for this team. Like, they can just move him around for the most part, which I don't think is cool of them to do personally. I mentioned it even at the beginning of the season. I felt like if they were going to put him in the bullpen, they probably should have moved him down to Reno just so he keeps his reps, and just in case there's an injury, they could bring him back up and then he can cover for an extended period of time. And that's what ended up happening. But he's been on a pitch count limit for the longest time, and now finally they let him go 100 pitches. And then I do think they should have let him face Cronenworth, especially at the time. Didn't work out that way, so he only ended up going 5 2/3. But I do think at least for next season, he should be in the starting rotation, because like the numbers you mentioned, the 2.65 ERA in 15 games, 78 innings, he's averaging about 6 6 innings per game and 66 strikeouts. Those are Corbin Burns numbers. Go look up Corbin Burns when he got injured. It's basically the exact same numbers that he had. He's just, Ryan isn't flashy or showy. And I'm saying Corbin Burns is, but just because of the pedigree of Corbin Burns, it does, jump off the page a little bit more than Ryan does. And again, that ERA doesn't tell the whole story because he did pitch in the bullpen, and then there was that Cubs win game that he was brought into that he probably shouldn't have been brought into, and the ball just went flying everywhere. So they scored like 4 or 5 runs off of him. But again, ERA doesn't tell the whole story. It's the WHIP. The WHIP is 1.05, which is one of the lowest in the league. You're talking about a WHIP, as low as a guy like Zach Wheeler. Like that's how low his WHIP is, and I think he's going to be able to build off of that. If he's goes 6 innings the rest of the season, he should be around 140 or so innings, 130 something, 140. And I do think it's a really good jumping off point because that's kind of where he was last year as well. He got to 150 innings last season, but obviously that ERA was at 4.24. Again, just not including the fact that in the second half of the season is when he also pitched to like a 2.5 ERA. And I do think he's just getting better and better. Whatever he figured out, it's been really work for him. And again, like other than the fact that he doesn't have those huge strikeout numbers, I do think Ryan is on his way to be, at least a Mets Wheeler, maybe not a Phillies Wheeler, because Phillies Wheeler is just completely a different person. But I do think he reminds me a lot of Zach Wheeler. And I think for next season, if everything goes well, obviously injuries and whatever other issues might come up, I can't see him being a 2.7 ERA guy and, closing in 100 innings for next season.
Yeah, same. Just looking up the WHIP leaders, I don't think he technically qualifies because of being in the bullpen, where I think you need at least one inning pitch per game played. He's at 101 on the season, so hopefully a few more starts here and there, he will be a qualified pitcher. But in regards to the WHIP, like he is, like Gabe said, he is a top 15 pitcher in WHIP. Tarek Skubal and Zach Wheeler, Joe Ryan, Skeens, Wu, Pavetta, Jacob deGrom, and Hunter Brown all have a sub-1 WHIP. Then you have guys like Matthew Boyd, Lodolo, Yamamoto, former Dimeback, still in our heart, Merrill Kelly. Those are the top 12. And then, again, if he was qualified today, he would slot in after Merrill Kelly and then ahead of guys like Garrett Crochet and Max Fried, Christopher Sanchez when it comes to WHIP. So I do agree. That is a big thing to look at, especially like I say it all the time. Walks piss me off more than anything. I'd rather have a dude, I'd rather have a team actually earn their runs than like we saw here, and especially this game that I didn't even mention, but in this game, the other Nelson that he who shall not be named at this point should hopefully never pitch another goddamn inning for the Dimebacks. Kyle Nelson could not even find the fucking strike zone. He walked the bases loaded, and then Andrew Hoffman walked in a run. So the Padres tied just off of 4 walks in a row and didn't even actually put the fucking ball in play, and that pisses me off alone. So that's why the WHIP is a very good thing to kind of focus at. And I didn't even realize that, as Gabe said, he's putting up kind of some Corbin Burns numbers, and that's something that I don't think a lot of us would have expected, especially looking back at just what he ended the season on last year. He's really proven why he should have been in this rotation from opening day, and why he should easily have a spot going into next year, no matter what. Even though we probably won't even have enough arms for that to even be a question. But Brandon, passing it on to you. What did you like from Ryan Nelson? And then do you think that he's pitching his way into being a top 2 rotation arm, whether for the D-backs or just a top of the rotation arm, just in considering in baseball in general?
I think he's pitched himself to be the opening day starter next year. I think with the current state of the starting rotation, we're not going to have Burns, so it's not going to be Burns. Gallen, I don't like. Even if they bring him back, he does not deserve to be the opening day starter. Ryan has, and what's crazy is we wouldn't have this if Burns didn't get Tommy John. If Burns is still in the starting rotation, I think Nelson's not in the starting rotation until now because of all the moves they made at the trade deadline. But if we had Burns, would we it's a whole thing. A lot of people were very confused as to why Torey removed Ryan Nelson after 2 outs in the 6th with getting 2 strikeouts. It's 100 pitches. Also facing a guy that had been 2 for 2 against him already. Like, I know, like, it was a whole thing on Tuesday night. Like, did Torey make the right decision? Obviously, what happened after that makes it just so much worse. Because, like you brought up, the bullpen literally could not, like, Kyle Nelson, oh my, like, it was driving me, like, the first batter, I'm like, okay. A second batter, I'm like, oh, this 3 batter minimum rule, oh my lord, it's driving me nuts. Like, it was just awful. It just sucks because on the broadcast on Wednesday, they kind of brought it up, like saying, oh, he'll probably come back and he'll pitch well. No, he won't. He has not been good since 2023, and then they bring up how he had that injury, same one that Merrill Kelly had. I'm like, Kyle Nelson is not a major league quality pitcher. He's just not. Like, we've seen examples that he's not. Like, they love to bring out he was one of the guys in 23. A lot of things happen in 23 that aren't happening right now. So, like, I wouldn't bring that up. But Ryan Nelson, if he qualified in terms of innings, he'd be number 11 in ERA, by the way, with his 3.20 right now. So, there's a chance that he passes Fott in terms of innings pitched. He's only 20 innings behind, and the way Fott's been pitching lately, he's barely getting through 5. Nelson's the only one in this rotation right now that I feel comfortable that the team has a shot to win that day. Everybody else, it is very hit and miss. Gallen, I don't know. Erod, Fott, like, it's very hit and miss. So I'm very excited for Ryan. It's so weird because teams know what he's going to throw. He's throwing that high fastball. They still can't hit it. And what they all say is that it kind of just, it gets there quicker than they thought. I'm like, yeah, because it rises. Like, his fastball has so much vertical movement up is why I think he is so dominant. Like, just crazy. Like, 66 Ks to 22 walks in 78 innings. Like, that is absolutely impressive. So, yeah, just what the Kyle Nelson. That just, like, Torey tries, and I think most of the time his mindset on the decision that he makes, for the most part, makes sense. It's just a lot of these guys don't execute, so it just makes it look so much worse. I don't know who else you put in that situation as a lefty to face Cronenworth. And once you bring him in, you got to let him face the 3 batters. So it's just...
Yeah. I mean, that's why I kind of felt they should have just left Ryan in. He was at 100 pitches, but Cronenworth isn't exactly the most patient hitter. He did have a couple of hits off of him, but Ryan, if you look at the chart, it was straight down the middle. It was a cutter and a fastball straight down the middle. So I think he would have pitched him a little bit differently. And still a lot of people saying, like, oh, but what if he comes out and with, forearm tightness? I'm like, after throwing, 5 pitches? Like, it's not going to happen because he throws 5 extra pitches. I mean, he got through that inning pretty quick.
Knowing our luck, it will, though.
Yeah.
Knowing our luck this season.
But at that point, again, it's another victim of Kaplan, not so much, because of I guess, mismanagement in this case. I mean, it was 100 pitches. Like, you're not at 110, 115 or something like that. It's maybe 5 extra pitches. If they keep going, I think you just walk them and kind of just have to, eat it and then put in one of the relief arms if it gets out of hand.
Say if who was our manager was it Kurt Gibson that was our manager when Edwin Jackson threw his no-hitter and he had like 150 fucking pitches? Like,
didn't he have like 8 walks in that one too? Like,
he had like 5 or 6 walks. I'm gonna look up the stats just because it's always, I always think about that. And again, like, I know it's different. Edwin Jackson doesn't throw nearly as hard as Ryan Nelson or some of these other guys, but it was 149 pitches, 8 walk no hitter. Yeah, 8 walks, 149 pitches. Where
no hitter. No
No
hitter.
hitter. Torey Lovello, and again, this isn't just not even Torey, but like the medical staff nowadays just absolutely shivers, and they have night sweats thinking about any pitchers nowadays even coming close to that pitch count and all that. And I do see both sides. Like I agree with Gabe where it's like, yeah,
I do.
maybe let him face one more hitter if Cronenworth does get a hit and go 3 for 3. Maybe you take him out and go to the bullpen at that point. It's like, hey, you know what? We want to limit the damage. But I also do see, the other side of like, the way the season is going, even if we win this game and all that, does it really do much other than, like I said, us trying to play spoiler? I'd rather make sure, again, with all of our luck, I know it's one of those where you can, if the if it actually happens, the if it's almost like we're talking about Justin Herbert in these discussions. Sorry, there's chronically online dumb joke. It you can do the if game as much as we want, but I'd rather play it safe. And like I totally understand the taking him out when you did, especially because they've been pretty strict with his pitch count since he did move back in. Like I don't think there's been many games where he's gone over. Like I'm checking his game log right now. I don't think there's been many games where he's gone over 90 pitch, like even 90 pitches. Like he's gone, like once he was moving to the rotation, he was at like the 70 pitch mark, like 70, 56, 71, 84, 62, 77, 79, 83, 87, 88, 86, 87, 85, 88, and 92. So this is the first time he's even pretty much gone past 95 the entire season. So I can understand maybe being like, hey, you know what, like you're doing great for us, Ryan. Don't want to just have like even like Brandon saying, if he's going to potentially be our opening day starter next year and top of the rotation guy, I'd rather just make sure we get to next season and he's not going to be out, all of the rest of this season and next season because Kaplan is the opposite of Midas and everything he touched turns into a Tommy John. But I do agree with both sides, but it's not on because I know again we are very critical of Torey Lovello, and we've said all the time like sometimes we don't like his decisions. This is the one time where I think we can all be in agreement where there's really not much else. Even if he didn't go to a different arm, there's not really many other guys like Backus was already used for 2 innings the night before. He was probably redlined, and there's not many other guys that you can truly trust in a situation.
I did see Beeks warming up before he put in Nelson. I don't think we saw Beeks at all this series, right?
He
No?
pitched a little bit.
We
I believe, in
saw
game
him
three.
Wednesday.
A
Yeah, he pitched
Wednesday,
in
yeah.
game 3.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Well, he was warming up in that 6th inning, and then he just suddenly was sat down, and then that's when they put in Kyle Nelson to warm up, and my brother was sitting right by that bullpen. He said it right from the start. I'm like, yeah, he was missing everything. He was like damn near hitting the wall behind the catcher as well, just because he was not locating anything at all during his bullpen session. So he came in just not locating anything in the bullpen session, and of course just comes in and walks those guys. So I don't know what happened with Beeks. Obviously, we're not in the press room or anything like that. I don't think any of the reporters asked Torey about what happened with Beeks and why they didn't put him in there. I mean, again, it might have not mattered in the end, anyways, just because of the way things worked out. But it was something that did, make me curious about why Beeks wasn't used in this situation. But especially because he did pitch Wednesday with Ginkle. There was that game Sunday where he wasn't put in. I was like, why isn't Ginkle in? Like, he hasn't pitched in like a week. It'd be the perfect time to bring him in there. No, so we found out that he's had some inflammation. But yeah, so I don't know. It was just confusing to me, at least in this case, especially because Kyle Nelson, I mean, was this his first game or his second game in
No.
over a year or whatever? So, I mean, yeah, we can. I think it's one of those things where it's just like, I don't know, wasn't the right decision necessarily, but again, Nelson shouldn't be as bad as he was. I mean, I feel like I could get it out before giving up 4 walks in a row or something.
And again, I'd rather have him. I would have preferred the Padres first 2 hitters. Like, yes, it would suck, but I'd rather have them. I'd rather have them throw a meatball and have them hit the ball than actually just
Yeah,
miss. And it's not even like Gabe. You were saying your brother was witnessing him just miss everything. It's not even like there were any competitive pitches. I could
yeah,
see being right around the zone like the batter just having genuinely good at bats where they're laying off some tough pitches and they're really just working the counts. Like there was no competitive pitches. They could have gone up there and done the John Boyce like what if Barry Bonds played baseball without a
15
bat? Like they could have
pitches,
gone up there with no bat in their hand.
3
They scored it.
strikes.
Yeah,
3
like
strikes.
they could have literally stood up there, left their bat in the on deck circle, and been like, "All right, literally cannot hit the ball even if you threw it over the middle." And Kyle Nelson still would not have thrown it anywhere over the plate at all, which is just very unfortunate. But again, not really many arms you can go to, and I mean this in the nice like in a nicer way as I possibly can. I hope that is probably the end of the Kyle Nelson D-backs experience because even like Brandon said, oh, he was a good guy for us in 23. His end of the season ERA kind of ballooned because he had a 2.19 ERA in 22 when we picked him up after we picked him up from Cleveland. But ever since then, he had a 4.18 ERA in 2023 in 56 innings, which is the most innings pitched in his career. He had a 4.22 ERA last year. Obviously, he had in 24, I believe he had that thoracic outlet, so he did miss some time. Obviously, so the smaller sample size, but he's just not that. He's a different version of Joe Mantiply, and that's I think one of the nicer ways to put it. But
He throws faster than Joe, but that's about.
yeah, exactly. And I think this is kind of a good segue into our second topic here in game two, because like Brandon said, that was a big thing that was talked about, and not just online, but in our Discord. Bringing out Kyle Nelson or bringing out Nelson for Nelson. The other thing that kind of led to it is again, yes, the D-backs like blew the lead. They ended up tying it. They went to extras. They did have a chance to score in the 10th inning. Like I said, they were 0 for whatever it was with the runners in scoring position, 0 for 13. Don't know what it was at this point. But Geraldo Perdomo went up there, no outs. He had, I believe, Corbin Carroll leading off the inning on second base, like one of the fastest guys in baseball, if not the fastest. And I believe he popped up. And yes, Perdomo
It wasn't
is
a
our
pop up,
he
but
he
it was.
yeah, he flew out. But I know Perdomo is our risk king. Like he does come up clutch in certain situations. But I do also believe that maybe other than Jose Herrera, he's probably one of our best bunters. And again, who knows? Like if he would have gotten a single and drove in the run, we would have been like, who cares? We won. Like doesn't matter. But with hindsight being hindsight, I personally think that a bunt should have been called in that situation just because, again, you bunt him over, you get Corbin to third, then you just need a deep fly out, and then Corbin scores. You don't have to worry about even getting a base hit. But just the immediate, one of our best bunters on the team not even uses a bunter. And again, I get the thought process for both sides, but I'm curious what your gentlemen's heads were at when Perdomo kind of went up there. Did you expect any kind of bunting, or were you not really too surprised that they gave him the swing away option there?
Um, I don't understand the line of thinking, especially when like they have no game plan for extra innings like at all. And I think it's very clear with they're what 1 in 12, 1 in 13, 2 in 13 now with in extra innings. Like they
They're
just
four
can't
and eight.
score 4 and 8. Like they just it's so clear to me that they just have no real plan. Like it's either, hey, Jose Herrera, swing away. You who's batting 150, you can swing away, but we'll have this other guy who swings a lot better. We'll have him bunt with the guy on third or something like that. It has no real rhyme or reason, and we can see the different managerial styles on Schultz. Like when they let off their inning, Jose Iglesias he bunted, Cornelworth went to third, but then it was a really good play by Perdomo to keep him at third base because Fermin grounded out to him, but Perdomo just like looked at him and then just made him go back to third and then got the out. Then Tatis grounded out, so nothing came of it in that inning, but that was I do think at the time the right play, especially with it being Jose Iglesias. He is a veteran of the game. He is a good bunter. So when the D-backs came to bat, and then Cattell got the free base, you had two men on. That's the perfect time to bunt when you have two men on. When it's one guy on, depending on who's up to bat, if you have Gino up to bat with the guy on second, you don't bunt. But when you have two men on, and there's the fact that anybody can ground out into a double play, that's usually when you would bunt. And then Perdomo and Herrera are both the only two good bunters on this team, and Tori decided to trust Perdomo for whatever reason in this case. And of course, he just flies out. Nobody moves up, and then Gurriel grounds out into a double play because none of the runners were able to advance. So even if they got the one out, and even if Gurriel grounds out in the next inning, there's no double play ball. There might be a play at the plate, whatever it might be. But point is, the inning wouldn't have ended with Gurriel, and instead it did. And it was just, I don't understand it. I don't understand that line of thinking to have guys bunt and then not bunt. It's like you need to at least be a little bit consistent, especially with who it is. Like context does matter. In this case, I think Perdomo could have easily bunted guys over. Like I said, he is the best bunter on this team, and Herrera is second. So there's two guys who should bunt, and you have him swing away. And as great as Perdomo is, he's not a power guy either. So he's not going to be ripping hard doubles or anything, or hard triples most of the time. So he is kind of the perfect candidate to bunt in this case. And then obviously the the Padres ended up putting 5 more runs, and then obviously the Dbacks came up. They have Locklear swinging and missing. Then Barroso just grounds out, and then Blaze just flies it up the warning track, and then the game was over. So I don't know. This team's game plan with extra innings has just been baffling to me this whole season. Just kind of the randomness of who gets assigned to bunt and who doesn't. Like I know a lot of people hate bunting in general. I'm okay with the bunting depending on who it is and what the circumstances are. If there's ever a guy on first in this situation, you bunt. Like almost doesn't matter who it is. Like again, I said maybe if it's Gino, just because he doesn't seem like the bunting type, but I would put Naylor up to bat if he was to bunt if he has a guy on second and first, just because it just feels like you would rather have 2 men on in scoring position. But I believe at this point they were already like 0 for 8 or whatever it was with runners in scoring position. So who knows how things would have worked out, but I don't think it would have worked out the way it did.
Yeah, one of the other guys that's been, we'll probably even talk about him for game 3 because it definitely reared its ugly head there. One of the big reasons, and I think they kind of do struggle with runners in scoring position, is Ketel Marte has been really awful. Like it's not just like it's a lot of the guys on the team in general that just struggle with runners in scoring position. But Jack Summers had a great, I believe it was a great tweet. I'm gonna find it really quick. Yeah, so Jack Summers had a tweet that said, tough year for Ketel Marte with men on base. So with runners in scoring position, he has 82 plate appearances. He has a 660 OPS and a 214 batting average, which is even like he followed it up with, which is the complete opposite. Because in 2024 with runners in scoring position, he had a 1074 OPS. And then even in his career, like he has an 816 OPS with runners in scoring position. So just a very unlike Ketel Marte situation, or very unlike Ketel Marte this entire year with runners in scoring position. But just the team itself, as Gabe said, they just have no plan going into extra innings. Literally, all of us, they're getting a free runner on second base, especially with the fastest run in the league. You just get him to third with 1 out, and then you have at least another chance to, even if you don't hit the ball in the air, even like a high chopping single, what like you have speed on third that the defense has to play perfect. Like Gabe said, like Perdomo with Cronenworth. I know Cronenworth isn't the same speed as Corbin, but the defense has to play like that, where they have to be smart. They have to make sure they're looking the runners back and making a strong throw to first. Where with Corbin in there, you just get him there with 1 out. A slow roller, a chopper, like we saw the Marlins did to the Yankees. Xavier Edward, that walk off Augustine Ramirez hit the ball 5 fucking feet. It was basically a swinging bunt, and the Xavier Edwards was able to score. So you just need to get back to some of that chaos ball, and we don't see them have kind of any plan or any resemblance of chaos ball in really any extra inning games this year, because it's the kind of same thing where they just go up there, swing and miss, strike out, pop up, weak fly out. They just can't come up with any clutch hits in any scenario. Which we'll even get to because there's a little bit of that in Game 3. But Brandon, what are your thoughts on the whole situation of Perdomo not bunting and the team just once again struggling to really get the ghost runner across into home in pretty much every game this year?
So this situation I'm very mixed on, because he leads our team in runs driven in. And I know Gabe brought up he's not a power hitter. We didn't need a power hit. We literally could have just had a simple soft contact hit and Carroll scores on any single. So I'm okay with him swinging away, but I'd also be okay, like we said, he's one of our best bunters on the team. But then I can think, okay, so Marte's on first because he got intentionally walked. Say he does bunt, get him a second and third. They're going to intentionally walk Gurriel to load the bases so that they can still have their double play. Next, you have Locklear, basically a rookie. I think he's still classified as a rookie. If I'm San Diego, I take that matchup every single time. So that's the issue that I have with doing the bunt, is you're kind of limiting yourself. Like, could Locklear just hit a deep fly ball? Absolutely. And we know anything relatively deep scores Carroll. So I think either decision I would have been okay with. And Perdomo's fly ball that he hit, it was deep-ish. It wasn't deep enough, though, for Carroll to go from second to third. And then, like Gabe said, Gurriel grounds into another double play, because that has not happened at all this season. Like, that's, like, that happens way too much. And it's usually within the first two pitches. Like, he loves, like, when there's guys on, like, I just think it's a whole team approach with whatever they're doing with runners in scoring position. Like, it's an entire, because it's not just one guy that's struggling. Everybody is struggling with runners in scoring position. Like you brought up, Marte has an OPS of like 660, which is what, like almost 400 points less than he was last year. Just this team in general with runners in scoring position is just, it's abysmal. They are currently, they're six worse with runners in scoring position. The only teams worse, Giants, Rockies, Mets, and Seattle, and the White Sox. So the reason why I don't think it's a big deal for the Mets and Mariners is because they have really, really good pitching. So they can kind of overcome that. So, but this team's just, like Gabe said, there's no identity of what they need to do if we get to the 10th inning. They just, like, it's just a whole nother beast that they struggle with the runners in scoring. It's just, it takes the runners in scoring position struggle to a whole new level, and they all I think they press really hard with runners in scoring position at this point.
Yes, because I was curious, I went up and looked up the grounding into double play leader. So Lourdes Gurriel is actually 31st in the league. He has 10 ground ball double plays. Take a random guess who is, just one of those random stats where like most of the league is around like 10, 11. Like number 3 is Juan Soto at 15. Who is number 1 and what do you think just don't look it up, don't spoil it. Who's number 1 and what's the amount of grounded balls grounded in double plays they have this year?
I think I looked a couple of weeks ago and I was so surprised who it was, but I can't remember who it was.
I'll say Arias with like 20. Just because he puts the ball in play. No, okay.
It is Junior Caminero at 26. Pete Alonso is second at 17.
That's what it was. I saw Pete Alonso, and I'm like, oh, shit. You mean the guy with all the power? Also, Junior Caminero, 30 homers.
Yeah, like he's really good, but like I didn't realize, because I thought Lourdes was in the top 10, top 15 for ground balls into double plays. But again, you don't even see Lourdes' name until you go to page 2, and he's 31st.
That's still really high though.
It's a lot. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, like 11 is still a lot. But I mean, even if you took off like Caminero, like it's still roughly around like league average when it comes to double plays. But at least a lot of these other guys are like power hitters, like Caminero, Soto, Alonso. You even got like Judge is 11 as like the same amount. Vladdy Jr. has 11. Ellie De La Cruz, which is surprising. He's a tough guy to double up. Corey Seager, like a lot of these guys like hit a lot of homers, but Gurriel with his 700 OPS is definitely not in the same ballpark as some of these other guys here. There's so many people. Yeah, he's like tied for 31st with like, I'd say it looks like at least like 10 people. Good Lord. Yes, it's sorry, random side tangent, but yeah, the team itself just struggles, and that's what it's so weird with Gurriel. He'll have random games where, I mean, those home runs, obviously they were 0-for-13, so those, I believe both runners were on first base when it happened. But I think agree with both you guys, and like I can see both you guys like what you're talking about. Like Gabe saying, the team has no really plan in extra innings, and it has been like that the entire season. Random times they'll put on the bunt for certain guys where you're like, why would you do that in this scenario, whether it's extra innings or not? And then certain times where you're like, okay, this is definitely a good time to call for a bunt, or you think they would, but then they don't, and then they once again struggle with runners in scoring position. But I even see Brandon's point where Domo leads our team in runners, like RBI. So it makes sense why to let him swing away, especially it's not like he was facing Mason Miller or Suarez. He's facing
David Morgan. Oh wait, no, that was the 11.
Was it Peralta? Was it Wandy?
I gotta go back and look at the game
I don't think he was Wandy.
score.
I think he was Morgan. Yeah, I think he was Morgan.
No, Suarez. It was
Oh, he was. It
Suarez.
was Suarez. Okay, so I mean, even still, but like again, Perdomo did have that clutch triple against Suarez earlier in the season when they had that dramatic comeback in the ninth inning. So he did see him well. So maybe I could see that's kind of the thought process of letting him swing. Like he hit him well once, maybe he'll do it again. But it's a big thing where like yes, Kyle Nelson in the bullpen, but I think the extra inning struggles and just going 0 for 13 with runners in scoring position was the big key and why they broke our heart in that game. But no chance for a sweep. They did have a chance to go for at least a series win. Like I said, break a lot of Padres fans' heart because the Padres. I think a lot of teams just agree playing in Chase Field is a hellhole because the D-backs every game is just. It's you never know what you're gonna get, but things were off to a good start in Game 3. Like I said, D-backs were trying to at least win the series. Corbin Carroll hit his 23rd home run on the season. A 443-foot blast, 110 mile an hour exit velocity off of nasty Nestor Cortez Jr. A pitch literally right on the fucking tee down the middle, and then they did get a second one in the fifth inning or in the second there on an Alec Thomas sacrifice fly. But the thing that kind of struggled or annoyed me about that one is it was bases loaded, nobody out, and a sac fly, 1 run was all they got in that situation. So a big chance to really put the game a little bit out of reach early on, and the ugly, hitting with scoring position. Because even in this game, they went 0 for 4 with RISP. Really showed its ugly head. Xander Bogaerts hit his ninth home run of the season to bring the Padres within one, and then Ryan O'Hearn. Once we got to the ninth inning, like the bullpen was pretty solid in this one. Beeks, Curtis, Woodford all went a combined 3 innings with only 1 earned run allowed. That one was from Curtis on the Xander homer in the seventh inning. Because DeSclafani went pretty well. He was, for being a guy that's not really a full-time starter, but he pitched his ass off in this game, 4 1/3, only 3 hits at 4 strikeouts with no walks, so he was actually a pretty good bright spot in here. But Kyle Backus went out for I believe, 5-out save. First batter he faces in the ninth inning, just hung an absolute meatball of a sweeper. Ryan O'Hearn hit his first home run as a Padre to tie things up. And then Jose Iglesias and the Padres kind of kept things rolling. He knocked Xander Bogaerts in after Bogaerts hit a double right after the O'Hearn homer to give the Padres a 3-2 lead. And then the D-backs get absolutely dominated by Mason Miller in the ninth inning there. Struck out the side. I believe there's 1 walk, which is a pretty good at-bat from, I believe, Blaze Alexander. He worked a walk there with 2 outs, but nothing came to show for it, obviously, as he was able to strike out Adrian Del Castillo on, I believe, 3 straight pitches. Yeah, 3 straight pitches. 2 of them borderline just right down the middle. But when you're going from an 89-mile-an-hour slider to a 103-mile-an-hour fastball, he can be pretty deceptive when they're in the same location. But just a little bit of a disappointing result there. Like I said, they were up 2-0 in this game. The Padres come all the way back to win. Again, they're still a solid team, but a potential playoff team barely beating the 2025 Arizona Diamondbacks. I am not moved. Stay ringless, you bums. What kind of stuck out to you guys in this game? Whether it was DeSclafani actually being pretty solid in this one, the rest of the bullpen outside of Backus in the ninth inning, kind of getting touched around a little bit, and then once again the runners in scoring position. What kind of stood out to you guys in this game, and what's maybe a positive twist that you can put on this one in a more disappointing end to the series?
I mean, first of all, I do want to give credit to the Padres bullpen. I mean, they obviously assembled a killer bullpen during the deadline. Preller ended up giving up a few top prospects. I think even the number 3 prospect in their system as well.
DeVry.
No,
So,
not number 3
or
in
it'll
all
be
of Major
pipeline.
League. Yes, it's number 3 in the entire pipeline.
I mean, I know he's feeling good with Mason Miller right now. So it's what I've said before. But sometimes you got to be willing to let go of some of your babies, because if they get into a tough playoff series and you got Mason Miller on the mound, I feel like this team would be really good, especially with Suarez back there as well. So they have a really good bullpen. The only reason why I think this was more the D-backs getting themselves out is because of this runners in scoring position. These last 2 games are 0 for 17 with runners in scoring position. Like, I know they have a good bullpen, but when you're that bad and you can't even get 1 hit or 1 run with runners in scoring position, it is, I think, a problem that's with the actual team itself and not with the pitching. Because truly, if it was 0 for 3 or something like that combined, and yeah, it's like, okay, then clearly the pitching is just too good. But in this case, it really wasn't that. It was kind of just the D-backs getting themselves up, because in every game they had quite a few hits. In this game, they had 4 hits, 4 walks, and I believe a couple hit batters as well. So they had runners on constantly. They just didn't do anything. But this Clefani, he actually looked really good in this game. 3 hits. I think that's the big thing. 3 hits and no walks, and 4 in the third. He really struggled the last game that he pitched in, but again, it's his first start since 2023, I believe. Kind of the typical Mike Hazen bargain bin at Walmart type of guys. But in this game, he was able to come out. He pitched really well, 4 and a third. So if he's able to do that, I mean, I'm fine with it. Obviously, I would prefer we had an actual real starter back there, but meanwhile, Jarvis isn't doing amazing, and some of the other guys in minors just still aren't quite ready yet. So, you can maybe pencil it in for a loss, but in this game, it wasn't really a loss until Backus came in and just could not, do his job and put guys away. So it was something that I don't. There's no real blame other than to Backus, I think, in this game, and the offense just not be able to put any real runs on the board. But yeah, I just want to kind of bring up this Clefani and Beeks looked really good in the inning in the third of work. Curtis is as ass as he's been all season. So we're talking about DFA. It's Curtis, it's Ryan Nelson, it's Woodford. We have
You mean Kyle Nelson?
Kyle Nelson. Sorry, my bad. I was looking at the in the box score. Yeah, we have 3 guys I think shouldn't be in this team, and I know there's no one else in the bullpen, but god damn, like, something needs to be done about these guys. We can't keep seeing them, mess up an entire game each series.
Yeah, and I know I believe Jeff Irving in our Discord, which again, plug Discord. It's free. It should be in our twin pin tweet on Twitter. Just come join in there. But even Jeff brought up
description as well
in
on
the
every
description
video.
as well. Yeah. So if you guys aren't on Twitter, in the YouTube description, so you guys don't need need Twitter to join the Discord. Just click on that link. Again, it's absolutely free. But even Jeff brought up in the Discord, he says, I'm pretty sure the Reno bullpen is much better than what we have in the majors. And I know some of those guys like Brandon Garcia, obviously he was sent back down because in his few outings up here as a D-back, he got touched a little bit. And he in 2, yeah. So like I said, it wasn't that much, but I guess they're trying to have him work on stuff. I did see a clip. He did give up a home run to Harry Ford, which implies the existence of clean shaven Chevy down in the sorry. I'm in my dumb dad joke era.
You've been in your dad joke era for a decade, bro.
Yeah, you're not wrong, but the powers have grown even stronger over the last 3-4 months. But I mean, the bullpen down in Reno at least has some exciting arms. Where even I think Jeff was bringing up the point where we're at the point we need to, and even Hazen was saying, yeah, these guys in the clubhouse, while we might not be fighting for playoff, they should be showing to me why why I should keep you on this roster, why you should have a spot here next year. And I think most of the guys in the bullpen outside of the Backus and maybe they bring back Jalen Beeks. I'm not sure. I know he's on a 1-year deal, and with how hurt we are, maybe we'll need him. But I'd rather see some of these younger guys like Brandon Garcia get some of those, innings in the major league level. Because again, if anything, I feel like as a bullpen pitcher, the atmosphere in Reno and some of those other ballparks in the PCL could just hurt your confidence because it's not a pitcher friendly environment. No matter pretty much where you're playing, I think other than in like where the Mariners,
Tacoma is the only normal ballpark probably.
Yeah, and even that's where Brandon Garcia gave up that home run to Harry Ford. So that's why I'd rather have him up here on the major league level. Some of those other guys as well pitch here than kind of suffer in Reno and have us deal with the Zach Curtises and the Woodfords of the world, because anytime their name is in, it gives me Randall Delgado vibes. And Randall Delgado was a guy where it's like, cool, he's going to come in, he might pitch like 2 innings, maybe 3, but he's going to give up, usually 3 or 4 runs, or even if he only pitches an inning, he's going to give up 3 or 4 runs. He's the punter. He's our bullpen punter, where you see those guys in and you're like, hey, you know what, we don't really have much else. Got to do them anyway. But Brandon, passing it on to you in this game here. Like I said, there's a lot of ugly. There's a lot of good in here. Shout out JID's new album, God Does Like Ugly, because he definitely would enjoy this D-backs bullpen if he really does enjoy ugly. But what kind of stood out to you in this game here as the D-backs dropped this one 3-2 to the Padres?
DeSclafani looked really good. I was really nervous, and I think he was nervous when he faced the A's last time. I think that's really what it was. Is he had a lot of nerves, pitched really well in this start. I was very confused why he got pulled sort of early in a lowish pitch count, but after the game, Torres said no, we had him at basically a 70 pitch limit. So I was like, okay, that makes sense why you pulled it, which I get. He hasn't been a starter all year. He's been the long guy, so that's why 40, 50 pitches. So they're gonna probably have to ramp him up. So I wouldn't be surprised.
He hadn't started a game since 2023 either. So
yeah. So like that made sense to me. So probably next start maybe 75, 80. Hopefully that gets him to 5. That's what I want to look. That's what I'm looking for in his next start. Is it a repeat of this, or is it going to be a repeat of the A's? And so I brought this up in our Discord. I would rather see the young guys that we have down in Reno over Curtis, Casey Kelly, Jake Wood. I would rather see those guys up here, and they just get thrown to the fire. I would rather them learn up here at this point, because it's not like we're playing for the playoffs. Like, just bring those guys up here and let them learn at the major league level. Basically, do what you did with Geraldo Perdomo in 2022. Like that. Like, Geraldo did not look good that season at all. Just one of the. Yeah, like it was literally a baptized by fire, and it worked. And it worked out, because now, like, we see he's a top 5 shortstop. There is no debate about that. Literally, if you look at the WAR, he's literally like, I think 5 or 6.
I think he's 4 actually, behind like.
So, yeah, like behind like Bobby Witt. Like, I'm like, yeah, I would rather at this point just for the bullpen guys, like Gabe said, the starters, no one's even close. I'm hoping maybe Cole Drake, who we got in the Merrill Kelly deal, maybe September. Also, want to give a shout out. Tommy Troy is killing it in Reno. Since they brought him up there, would really September maybe. Tommy Troy is one of the, because they do expand the roster to 28 in September from 26. Maybe Tommy Troy is one of them. Maybe Christian Robinson. Christian Robinson has also looked really good in Reno so far. So, like this game was like the running, like going 0 for 17 in 2 games is absolutely insane. Like, that is abysmal. Like, it just blew my mind. And yeah, that San Diego bullpen was top notch before they got Mason Miller. They have 2 guys back there that have a sub-2 ERA in Morahone and Adam, and then they have a closer that is like top 5 in saves. And then you add Mason Miller, who's not even their closer.
And we have him for 4 more goddamn years. Dude, fuck the A's. Sorry, quick side tangent. They're my second favorite team. I can't wait for them to have Leo DeVry get up there and then like trade him in 3 fucking years for another like prospect package. Like, they're the minor league horror team for every other goddamn team. Like, you want to
their future though is looking with.
They're just gonna trade
Nicholas.
They're gonna trade
Kurtz.
They're gonna trade Nick.
And trade the Dodgers for.
Yeah, they're gonna trade him in the Dodgers
for their 5 prospects who won't pan out.
Yeah, like
Jacob Wilson is also really good. Brent Rooker, like.
All of them traded in 2-3 years.
But they don't have any pitching. That's their problem. They don't have any starters.
And their mound is absolute dog ass, dude. Severino hates that mound.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the mound he hates or playing at a minor league ballpark for 81 games.
I think he has been very vocal, or he does not like the mound. And like looking at his numbers, he has like a 5 ERA in Sacramento, and then like a 2 ERA on the road everywhere else. Like, who knows? Maybe they go after Sevy. I don't know. Sorry, quick side tangent.
I'm surprised,
team, and I can't believe that they're just every single year they trade away somebody with team control, and they don't want to fucking spend money, but they want a $1 billion ballpark in Vegas. You fucking loser owner.
It's so weird because the A's literally, I don't know, like 2 or 3 weeks ago said, "Oh, we're not trading Mason Miller," And apparently they weren't going to until Padres offered, here's the number 3 prospect in all of Major League Baseball.
It's like that Family Guy meme I see all the time, where it's like we have an all-star caliber baseball player here, or we have a mystery box that could be and turn into an all-star caliber player. I'm gonna take the mystery. God damn it! It sucks having them as my fucking AL team. Sorry, I had to do a quick side tangent because the A's make me sad, man.
They make a lot of baseball fans sad.
And of course we got to. And literally, I was like, dude, trade him to a fucking AL team. Keep him out of the goddamn. Everyone comes to the NL West, and I'm sick of it, man.
At least he didn't go to the Dodgers, because that was rumored for like a couple of days before the deadline too. I'm like, if he goes to the Dodgers, I'm gonna go find Cruz, and I'm gonna go do something that's illegal.
It's okay. In 3-4 years, we'll just trade for Roman Anthony. You know, we'll be the NL West team that's getting a good player coming into it. But yeah, say the Padres bullpen is disgusting, man. They just got even better. Like
they have turned a game instead of 27 outs. It's more like 18 or 21. If they have a lead in the 6th inning, chances are it ain't gonna change. And in the playoffs, that is danger. Like if they have like a 3-1 lead going in the 6th or the 7th in a short series, that's deadly.
They're just gonna need Mr. Junior to get his ringworm cream back in time for the playoffs, because he's been on an absolute home run drought. He
hasn't played well. He hasn't.
He hits 40 home runs the season before he gets busted. He hasn't hit over 25 since. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, say any other final thoughts on this series before we move on into our series preview and look forward on the horizon and what we got coming up.
One thing, congrats to Corbin Carroll. Hit his longest home run at Chase Field on Wednesday. His second longest of his career. His longest one was the one in 23 he hit at the Reds. The one that's like above the batter's eye. Like that one he destroyed. But congrats to Carroll. Can you stop trying to slug so much though? Like it gets a little frustrating because he'll go on these droughts where he'll just like strike out or weak contact. Like, that was one thing that really pissed me off. Was it Tuesday or Wednesday? There was a game where it was tied in the 8th inning, and we had Marte and Carroll up, and they were out within 3 pitches, both of them. Like, those are the guys that we need to play better late in games, or with runners in scoring position.
Speaking of congratulations, also shout out El Capitan, 400 hits in the career. But yes. Gabe, any other final thoughts on the series?
This was just a typical 2025 Dbacks game, just kind of very lethargic. Or not game, series, just very lethargic. They could have had a sweep, and they ended up, losing the series entirely, and then that's just the way things have gone for them. They have had chances to either sweep or, take a series, but they're just not doing the little things. They're not winning at the margins, which is what you need to do as a playoff contending team. You need to be able to win even the smallest things. You can't commit too many errors, because that's something I heard him a couple times this series as well. Just some mental errors or even actual errors themselves, letting guys on, extending innings. So this was just the regular, 2025 D-backs. And you're going against the Rockies, I believe. Well, not, yeah.
Yes.
So I'm expecting the D-backs to maybe win the series, because the Rockies, they got absolutely destroyed by Toronto.
They
got just an absolute dicking down. It was crazy.
45 runs in a 3-game series. Like, I know it's mile high, but that's insane.
That's like the kind of shit I do in MLB The Show when I'm doing my CPU on rookie level grinding.
Yeah.
Trying to get like stats. Like, dude, I even saw a tweet where it's like, man, shout out Rockies fans. I cannot imagine waking up every day to, like, again, we're still gonna watch our team no matter what, whether or not we're not making the playoffs. And there's a lot of Rocky fans that do the same thing. But 30-84, and you're like, oh god, like it was rough in 2021. There was a lot of games where I didn't want to turn on, but I still did, and I immediately regretted my decision. Cannot imagine that Rockies fans feel much better about their luck. But with our luck, we're probably going to drop 2 or 3, or we're going to get swept because we never play them. It seems like too well, and especially this season. I mean, earlier in the season when things were hopeful and we were still in the race of things, we barely even won that series against the Rockies. I mean, obviously we remember the that Saturday game where they just got absolutely like they put up like six. Zach Gallen was just ass. I think they lost like 14-12. It was just like a home run derby, miniature home run derby in Chase Field going down there, but. Hopefully Zach Gallen will get a little bit of redemption there against the Rockies because he is going tomorrow night, Friday night, pitching in the Serpientes jerseys. He is 8-12 in the season with a 5.4 ERA going up against Austin Gomber, who is 0-5 with a 6.18 ERA. What an amazing return on trade they got for Nolan Arenado. He's turned out to be an absolute stellar pitcher for them. Eduardo Rodriguez is 4-7 with a 5.53 ERA going up against Blaylock, I believe. The son of a former player with the same name, but he is 1-3 with a 7.6 ERA. And then game 3 is going to be Brandon Pfaadt going up against. I believe they have yet to announce a starting pitcher, but Brandon Pfaadt is now 11-7 with a 5.02 ERA. So all 5 pitchers for the D-backs have an over 5 ERA. Both the 2 announced starters for the Rockies have an over 6 ERA. So this should be a very, very high producing series or run producing series, but with our luck we're going to see a bunch of 3-1, 2-0, 4-2 games here. But what are you guys going to be kind of looking out for in this upcoming series, whether it's maybe like Gallen to bounce back or at least build off of his quality starting against the A's, maybe Erod kind of bounce back, and even Pfaadt building up and continuing, hopefully getting that ERA back underneath 5. Maybe there's a specific matchup. Like for me, I'm definitely going to be watching Alek Thomas there. Hopefully he can continue hitting well because, especially going up against lefty and Gomber, if he can start to hit lefties a little bit more, that's something that I'm kind of keeping an eye on. So maybe Alek takes Gomber yard for a little bit of lefty on crime. That's my prediction. But I'm curious, what are some predictions and some names and matchups that you're going to be kind of keeping an eye on here as we go to face the Rockies?
So just for me, the main thing, like we're talking about, developing these young guys. Locklear, I think this would be a perfect series for him to see some, bad enough pitching that he can get some actual accounting stats and some of his confidence that he can be in the major leagues, maybe get a couple more home runs, a couple more doubles. Corbin, I think he actually has played a lot better than I think we all kind of realize. He really cut down the strikeouts recently. He has 6 strikeouts in the last 7 games, and before it would be like double that. In the last 15 games, he has 12. So he is actually getting better in terms of strikeout percentage. Just though the main thing is just not hitting a ton. I do think this is the perfect time to, stats, pad of those stats, Corbin, and same with Cattell. I think this is the perfect time for them to do those sort of things where they can, at least get a few accounting numbers, get Corbin near 30 for the season, get Cattell over 20, I believe. I don't know if he has 20 so far, or if he does. No, he has 20, so same thing. Both of them getting near 30. See Gurriel actually go over 700. So that's what it is. I think mainly just the offense, having these guys hit certain accounting stats that I think will help them a lot going forward, at least, feel better about themselves.
Yes, a good confidence boosting series, and I know our man Jason in the comments saying finna hammer the over. I think that is probably the move that a lot of degenerate gamblers like Jason and I are probably going to be doing, hitting the over, maybe some yes run first innings and all that, especially with Gomber and Gallen. I could see it combined 3 or 4 runs in the first inning alone. But
I mean, it's
Brandon,
coughing baby versus coughing baby.
it's literally it's a Victorian baby with a slight cough versus a Victorian baby with a slight cough. Both of them are gonna die, but we're at least gonna hopefully have some good result at the end there. That got dark there, but Brandon, kind of passing it on to you. What's something else in this series that you're gonna be looking at? Whether it's some like matchups and maybe some predictions that you have for this upcoming Rocky series.
I don't even know. Like Rockies are just absolute dog shit. Like I I want us to sweep because I want the Rockies to break the MLB record for most losses in a season that the White Sox set last year, which would be so funny. Like back-to-back years have 2 of the worst teams in MLB history,
But they'll still have a top 5 attendance or top 10 attendance.
and then you'll have a team like the Dodgers with a record payroll. How does that that's so weird. I'm hoping that Fott can get his ERA under 5 and keep it under 5 because he's right there at 5.02. Gallon, I don't think there's any way he gets it under 5. He literally would have to have the rest of his stars give up 2 runs or less. Maybe he gets 10 wins, maybe because he's at 8-12. I don't know what else to be on the lookout for this. I'm gonna watch every game. Even if I didn't have a podcast, I still would watch every single game. I'm curious on what the attendance, though, is. Because Saturday is the Corbin Carroll Star Wars bobblehead. It's Star Wars night. Those are usually pretty packed. I'm just curious if it will be because of how the team's playing right now. I don't think Friday's going to be that busy. Sunday's definitely not. I was there. So I was at this past series. I was there Monday and Wednesday. It was dead both days. It was just over 20,000.
Probably mostly Padre fans too.
Which most of them are probably also Dback fans, and they also live here. Everyone's where'd all these Padre fans come from? Just like every other sports fandom, they're fair weather fans.
Yeah, and everything Arizona gets taken over, especially with the popular fan base, which we'll definitely be seeing that in October in the Cardinals Stadium when the Packers come to town.
Oh, shit.
There'll be a lot of cheese up in the stadium there. But yeah, it's hopefully going to be at least a series that we can see them win because, like I said, we're looking and seeing what kind of excitement in 2026. Gallon might come back next year. I know we're probably going to offer him the qualifying offer, so hopefully he can kind of pitch towards. Who knows if he has a really solid end of the season? Maybe some team gives him a 3-4 year deal with a couple opt outs, kind of like what Alex Bregman got with the Red Sox. Who knows? But I'm just trying to look at any kind of positive that we have here. I think, like Gabe said, Locklear, even like Brandon said, maybe Fott get his ERA under 5, and just have any kind of positives to build toward the end of the season. Become spoilers. I know we can't really spoil anything for the Rockies. The only thing we could spoil is their all-time loss record, which hopefully we don't, because that would hurt me if we get swept or if we lose a series to the 30-84 Rockies. They're 24 games worse than we are.
The fire Tory crowd will get even more unbearable.
No, honestly, if we get swept, and it sucks too, because it's kind of like what we talked about with parts of this series too. It's if the team just doesn't play well, that's not really on Tory. But if he makes some baffling decisions and puts out some baffling lineups and whatnot, I could see them being
people blame Tory for everything, but right now, they're oh, team's not playing well. Let's go see. Oh, he lost the clubhouse. That's why they're not playing well.
It's crazy. And again, we will be critical of Torey Lovullo, but there's being critical and there's just being genuine. Goldschmidt happened level of having Torey live rent free, where you wake up having sweat nightmares because you're oh my god, Torey Lovullo, what a Torey Lovullo.
Again, I'm not a Torey defender, but some of you I get you love this team and the way this team has been playing lately. It's frustrating, but please just think sanely for just 2 seconds. Exactly. How is it always the manager's fault and not players for not performing? Again, sometimes it is Torey. I'm not saying Torey is not without fault.
Leaving Jose Herrera in against the Astros, that was a Torey blunder. That was something he shouldn't have done. But Kyle Nelson walking the bases loaded, that's not on Torey.
Yes, that one right there.
That's the player sucking and not doing their part. It's still a two-way street. Sometimes the players need to perform well, and the manager gets the brunt of the decisions. But sometimes the manager makes a really, really baffling decision that we have to kind of deal with. Yeah, our man Shrimpy in the chat here, he's dealing with that as a Yankee fan, saying fire Boone, and that crowd's gotten very vocal over the last month and a half. Because
I don't blame them because.
Yeah, they're having a pretty epic collapse right now. But in Boone's case, I don't know, man. It's not his fault that Bird sucked or that Devin Williams sucks or that Daniel Bard, who was it? Yeah. It wasn't his fault that all 3 guys sucked and allowed 9 runs. It was
his fault for putting in Devin Williams
again
next game, yeah.
Yeah, that's a Toryism right there. That's a Toryism that that's something that he would do to get his confidence up and then have it blow up in his face. But I don't know, with Aaron Boone, I don't know. The main thing with them, I think, is the entire staff needs to go for that team. Like they're all so fundamentally unsound on that team that I think they need to fire everybody. It doesn't matter who it is. Everybody needs to go. And I'll tie it back with the D-backs a little bit here. I do think same with the D-backs. I think most of the staff needs to go as well because I know we're developing these young guys now, but if we're seeing basically this exact same team next season with this coaching staff the way it is, be prepared to lose 90 games because they're already not playing well, and I don't see that changing. If I know firing people doesn't always solve everything, but I do think if you're just doing the same thing over and over again for 10 years, like something has to change at some point. I mean, look at the Reds. They got Terry Francona, and they're right there. They're a couple games behind the wild card. I looked this up. They have seven starting pitchers on the IL. It's not guys in Reno. It's 7 pitchers on the IL, starting pitchers on the IL as well. They have a couple guys from their actual starting lineup on the IL. So, like, some teams just need a reset. Like, it doesn't, if you're doing the same thing over and over again, it's not working again. It's fine to have a change and see if maybe it works out. And if it doesn't, then, at least you tried something and you did something different instead of being stagnant. And I think that's kind of how this team is. They're just a little stagnant right now. I don't think Torrey lost the clubhouse, blah, blah, blah. I just don't think they're, I just don't think any of them truly have anything
They
to
don't
play for at
care.
this point. They're
They
checked
just
out.
don't care.
And, compared to, I believe, I don't know if Brett, you were on, we just compared it to, the last week of the school year for seniors or something like.
Oh yeah,
Even though there's 2 months, left, but they have senioritis, with 2 months left. So it's frustrating to watch as a fan, but again, I do think it is something to look into, to where sometimes you do need another voice in there, see what you can get out of it. There's maybe at the end of the season, there might be managers who are let go. So there's always people to choose from.
yeah, and it could be, and like you said, maybe don't always need to, like firing's not always going to be the issue or be the fix because I mean we saw that as Suns fans. What how many coaches now in the last 3 years to where maybe it's further than just the coach itself, and I don't think that's anything with the D-backs. I still don't think we're going to fire Torrey. I don't think he needs or deserves to be fired. But if we play like this coming out of the season next year with this like you said, Gabe, with the same roster, if they play the same exact way. I could see the crowd getting a little bit louder and saying maybe like a mid-season change, but for right now, it doesn't deserve it. And hopefully, we don't have to even worry about thinking about that because, again, I still like Torrey. I think he's a good person. It's nice to have a manager who you can root for as a person. That's not like somebody that he hasn't lost the clubhouse. Every single player always speaks highly of him. Like Eduardo Escobar said, he would literally die for Torrey Lobello. So like I still think he offers a lot of good things. But it's definitely going to be tough to silence the Tory hater crowd if they do lose the series against Colorado. Whether it's actually
If
something
he's
or
not fired the day after the season ends, there's going to be so much of this fan base, mainly on Twitter, that's going to say, "Oh, I'm not going to support this team anymore." Okay, then don't.
Yes, they will. Like it's
Yeah,
just
like I'm like,
it's the same
yes, you
crowd that
will.
say they're going to boycott anything and everything when they tune in to watch it, and you're like, shut the fuck up. Respectfully, shut the fuck up. You're still going to watch this team because you're gonna forget by the time opening day comes around. You're gonna be like, oh, who cares? It's baseball. I'm gonna watch my team. Like, yes, we know. Like you're just gonna root for them, and it sucks because then they start to get in the mindset where they want the team to fail just so they can see Tory get fired. They don't want to see them succeed, and be proven wrong. Because like we've said multiple times, we'd rather be proven wrong and have to eat crow later down the line. Like I'd rather do that than be proven right and see this team fail, see players fail. Like I don't want that to happen, but there's a lot of people, Goldschmidt happen, that generally want to see this team suck because they want to feed their ego of being like, oh, I'm right. Okay, you're still just a dude on Twitter, just like the rest of us. Like, calm down. But enough side tangent. Any final thoughts before we get out of here? Whether it's maybe one thing that kind of popped in your head on the series that just happened, maybe the series coming up, or just like I said, maybe some fun things going down, like Brandon mentioned, the bobblehead night. Anything else that you guys kind of wanted to mention before we get on out of here?
Just I am excited, at least for late August, September baseball to start, because that's when they open the roof again, and those sunsets are really nice. I mean, I know this week was 108 or whatever, but supposedly next week it's going to cool down by like 20 degrees or 30 degrees almost. So hopefully that means a lot more open stadium games and everything. So I'm excited for that at least.
Gabe just turned into Zach Greinke for a second there.
Why?
The sunsets are nice.
Yeah.
Brandon, what about you?
Chipotle.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Just play well. Play like you're a professional baseball team. Jake had one play he was making in left that he whiffed so bad. I'm like, that was just not good. And that's what we're talking about. It's like, it's not just not making plays, not like errors, but just not playing fundamentally sound. Like, it's bad.
Yeah, definitely would like to see them just work on the little things and just give us, a little bit of hope to end the season, give us some copium to go into the 2026 offseason, and nothing but dread. But either way, we appreciate every single one of you guys for tuning in, whether, again, you were here at the live chat, like our homies Disruptive and Jason, or if you're listening after the fact on Apple, Spotify, or even re-listening to the YouTube broadcast. We appreciate every single one of you guys. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok while you're over on Twitter. Or even if you're in the YouTube description, if you don't have Twitter, make sure you check out our pinned tweet or pinned in the description. Click that Discord if you have not already joined. It's free. You don't got to pay any money. And you can join a great community of a bunch of other Dbacks fans. And also make sure you guys go over to the azsnakepit.com website. Check out all the other great content they have over there. Written articles, deep dives, game day threads, especially with the series coming up. A lot of great people over there. Great community that they have over there. So make sure you guys check all that out. We will see you guys on Sunday. Not sure exactly what time, but hopefully we'll be here. Fingers crossed. We can talk about a series win. In the meantime, you guys have a great rest of your Thursday night and a great start to weekend, and we'll catch you guys later. Peace out.
Under the lights, the game goes down. Desert heat, but we own this town. Gabe on the call with Josh in the back, bringing it all. Fastballs hum, the bats ignite. 9 innings deep, we fight all night. Wins and losses, highs and lows. We break it down, yeah, that's how it goes. Dbacks, dispatch, turn it up loud. We rep the Saints, we make them proud. To the final fray, we bleed Santona red in this game. So hit subscribe, don't miss a